Shoot. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander EDC. I can't start today's piece of content without two huge thank yous. The first one is to S.O.G Knives of Europe for sending me this to review, and also being just great people and patient with me while I've been struggling the last few weeks to get this content out. Huge thank you, and thank you for being so understanding. The second one is to my community, the Moorlanders, all of the Moorlanders out there. The response to the video a few weeks back has been incredible. It's genuinely touched me to see the people out there that have struggles, how you guys are being strong and overcoming them. And when I say guys as well, I use that as a unisex term, you know, contacted by men and women to share their stories. Yeah, it's really helped. You guys are awesome. Really are. So a huge thank you for that. Makes me feel confident to come back and make some content with a bit of a stammer. But for now, what we are here today to look at is the S.O.G Terminus XR. So hopefully a few of you will have noticed wasn't in my pocket a few weeks back, maybe a month or so ago. I did a review of the Terminus, which is the slip joint version. How impressed I was purely with this knife, and I got in touch with S.O.G and said, love this, love to do a video on this one and maybe compare the two. They were absolutely amazing, sent me this one out, so again, you know, thank you for that. So what I'll do is I'll turn the camera around so we can have a little bit more of a look at this. While I'm doing that, feel free to mash that like button, subscribe and all that kind of jazz while I turn this round. So we'll go through some measurements and materials first. The blade length itself is 77 millimeters. As far as the cutting edge from the choil here to the tip, it is 72 millimeters, which, if you would take off the fact that it was a locking knife, would make it perfectly legal here in the UK. A jump forward slightly. This is not a UK knife law friendly knife. I do have to point that out, and that is mainly due to the fact that there is a locking mechanism, or at least a mechanism by which something must be pushed, pressed, pulled, or something in order for the knife to close. It opens quite easily. There are ambidextrous thumb studs that you can use to pull it out. You can, obviously, there isn't a nail nick, but you can pull it out quite easily. The beauty of it is, as you follow the choil down here into this ricasso part, there is an extended thumb section here which works really well in this thumb choil, but when it's closed the thumb comes out so that you can flick this. Now this doesn't make it a flick knife. Flick knives here in the UK are illegal. It's just a way in which you can open it. My flick skill isn't the best. With a flick of a wrist you can get it to come out a little bit quicker, but you know, I've gone past where we were back here on the actual blade itself. So 7.2 millimeters, 72 millimeters, sorry, as far as the cutting edge. Out of the box, you know, I'm generally really impressed with the sharpness of knives that come from S.O.G. They really are. You can feel that sharpness biting and wanting to cut. Full length when it's open is 182 millimeters. When closed, it measures at 107 millimeters. The thickness of the blade stock is 2.6 millimeters. The one thing I forgot to write down is actually how thick this is, but it by eye it looks around about 10 to 11 millimeters. As far as in the pocket, it fits really nice in the pocket. It's that perfect daily use kind of size. Although there isn't one on here, the deep pocket carry is the same as here on the Terminus, so it slides in here and then folds over with a single screw, keeping it in place. It's exactly the same as this one. I think it was black, but when they sent this to me, they did apologise that there was no deep pocket clip on it, but I said that's fine. You know, I've got this to use as an example. The scales. Oh, sorry. The actual blade material is CPM S35VN, which is similar in a way to the CPN S30V. But it's all almost like the older brother or harder cousin to that. So what you do find is that there are some improvements over S30V with the S35VN. It's roughly can be, depending on the heat treatment or whether it's cryo, between 15 to 20% tougher, which does mean that if you did want to use, I mean, it's a beautiful knife, if you did want to use this as a beater, you really could do, because the edge retention on this would be a lot better. With it being a stainless steel, there's also less upkeep, and it's also a lot more resistant to rust. You'll be able to see on both sides. On this side, it just says, sorry, it keeps coming out of focus. It says S.O.G Terminus XR, and then on this side it says that it's cryo, and then you've got the CP S35VN on there as well. Double thumb studs on both sides, depending on whether you're a lefty or a righty. Across the top of the back of the spine here, you have some very gnarly jimping. The jimping on this, as with the jimping on the Terminus, is incredibly aggressive. So and on the back here, you're not going to worry about your finger slipping, and also your finger moving forward through this finger choil here. It does make it quite difficult to get your finger or thumb past that. The finish on the blade is a satin finish. It's a clip point and a flat grind through there. I like the grind on this. You can see I was using it yesterday in the garden. It's very nice. Ergonomics. You have a little bit more. What would you call this? I've forgotten the word. Contouring. So you have a little bit more contouring on here and across the back as it comes into the ricasso. So it's actually a little bit nicer and easier to hold than the normal Terminus. One of the things that I said about the Terminus is that you have this strange flat area here. you have a finger recess for it to go into, but there's nothing to stop your hand coming forward until you hit this little bastion there. Whereas with the XR, you can see that this line follows round here across the finger choil into this bastion that goes through to the back. So it's actually quite nicer than the ergonomics on the Terminus. As far as the scales are concerned, hopefully you can see here that it is a carbon fibre G10. They feel really nice. There are little bits that have been cut into the scales themselves, just to give some extra grip, which is really nice. A large pivot pin here to make sure that it keeps it in place. As far as play, it's solid. It really is solidly built. I don't want to mess with it too much because I don't want to cut myself. But yeah, there's not a lot of give. There's a fraction of a wiggle in there, but really nothing that I'd be concerned about its build quality. If you want to close it, it will drop so that you can do it single-handedly, and then when you release the XR lock, it pulls it in as well with the cut through that's in the actual blade stock itself. It uses a ball bearing pivot, so it's always nice and smooth. The more that I've been playing with the flick, although I still need to work on it, it's getting easier to do, and as I mentioned, with just a slight flick of your wrist, it will fire that open. The only other bits that are on here, you've got a couple of pins at the back which hold the spacer in place. It has steel liners, and it is a tip up carry, if you prefer a tip up carry, so that you can deploy it if needs be. Oh, come on. When you take it, remove it from a pocket, it's there. Now, is there anything else that I've forgotten? I don't think there is. As far as the differences between the two, you can see that the Terminus DNA runs through the two of them. Other than the grind is a little bit deeper on this one. The only reason it's less deep on this is because you've got the thumb nick there, but the choils are roughly in the same place. It's a 26 millimeter deep blade, which both of them are as well. And looking from above, they're both very similar as well. The only main difference, which I've alluded to earlier, is in the ergonomics. This section here with this plateau there just seemed a little off, or just a little strange with the Terminus. Whereas this beautiful line that curves through there just seems to make perfect sense. You could argue that with the Terminus, you've got something there to stop your hand from moving back, which you don't have as much, or it's not as pronounced on the XR. But other than that, you can definitely see the Terminus DNA that flows through both of these knives. I think S.O.G have perfectly crafted two knives here. When I started with the Terminus, the engineering, the build quality on this is absolutely amazing, and it is, as you know, mentioned before, it's a very safe slip joint to use. If you're ever concerned about slip joints, I definitely recommend the Terminus, because it's incredibly safe with the detent system that they have on here. What for me that they've done with the XR, adding that XR DNA into the DNA of the Terminus, is really built on what is already an amazing knife. I think they've hit it out the ballpark with this one. I love this, but I love this one more, which is why it's unfortunately bittersweet that I can only carry this in certain situations, where I can carry this here in the UK in 99% of situations, which is a massive shame. If I was to buy one of them, I'd still go for this. But this is still a great knife. I couldn't call it, mainly because of I can only carry this in certain situations, whereas this I can carry with me all the time. But both excellent knives, whether it's a slip joint or a locking knife, depending on where you are in the world. So as I mentioned before, a huge thank you to S.O.G knives, especially S.O.G knives of Europe, for sending this to me. This was a review unit for me to keep, but full disclosure, had no reflection on the outcome of this. You could have probably already guessed by just how much I love this knife, as to whether or not I was going to like this one. I'll leave some links in the description below, so that you can see more about S.O.G knives, S.O.G knives of Europe, on Instagram and Facebook. I'll also leave some of my links in the description below. If you like to follow me on social media, you'll be able to see some of my links, and you'll be able to see some of the things that will be coming up in future reviews as well. But yeah, hopefully the speech is going to get better, and I'll be back on full force. I might need to start making 2 videos a week, because I've got that much stuff to catch up on, which is always good. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC.